Very good morning everyone. Welcome back to the another session of mobile computing using Android and iPhone. This is the last session which is based on the theory. That means next video onwards we are going to start with the practicals which is based on the Android. So before starting the practicals of Android, you need to understand the theoretical points and certain terminologies which is related with the Android. So in today's video we are going to learn different terminologies which are related with the Android. So let us start with the first term, .apk file. Now see, .apk is the extension of Android file or Android application. Over here, APK file stands for Android application package file. Generally, this particular file is created when you compile your Android application and it package that particular application into a single file which includes the application code in the form of .dex. Over here, .dex stands for Dalvik executables. It is a collection of resources, collection of assets, collection of manifest as well as your application code which is in the form of .dex. So .apk is a file which stands for Android application package file, and it contains the collection of different kinds of applications like code or resources or assets or manifest file. It wraps all the items into single file which is called .apk. Over here we have taken the example of my first project .apk. So my first project is a application package and .apk is the extension of file. The second definition is called .dex. DEX stands for Dalvik executables. Dalvik is nothing but it is a virtual machine. That means if you want to execute or run your Android application into the computer, at that time you need to have DVM installed on your computer. Then and then only you are able to execute your application in the Android Studio or any other applications. So it is compiled your Android application code file. The Android programs are compiled into .dex file, and which is the group of single APK file on your device. That means whatever the code you have written in the Java file, that code is compiled into the Dalvik executable file. That means the Dalvik virtual machine understands that kind of code, and later on again this particular executables are grouped into the single file and which is referred as a .apk file. APK stands for application package. Now .dex file can be created automatically by translating and compiled application written in the Java programming language. So all the code which is written in the Java language, that is compiled into .dex file, and later on it wrapped under the single package or it grouped into a single file which is known as .apk file. So Dalvik executable is a file through which you can compile your code, you can package it into the single file which is known as .apk file. So total three-way process is there. first of all your Java file is compiled into .dex file, and after dex file it wrapped into the single unit which is called .apk file. So you need to install apk file into your device. Next is called Dalvik. Dalvik is nothing but it is a virtual machine using which you can execute your files, and the format of Dalvik executable file would be .dex. So always remember one thing, that when you work with a virtual machine, at that time first of all you need to convert your Java file into the .dex file, so that you can run that particular file into the Dalvik virtual machine. The virtual machine is register based and it can run classes compiled by the Java language. So that means you are having all the classes which are already there in the Java language, right? That classes you can also use over here. So it will compile that classes first, and we can consider virtual machine as a register based machine. The compiler that have been transformed into its native format using the included .dx tool. Dx tool means Dalvik executable tools. So what is the responsibility of compiler? The compiler is responsible to transform the native format for the transformation into its native format, and for that they are going to use dx tool. Next is called DDMS. The full form of DDMS is Dalvik Debug Monitor Service. So your you see, if you are working with a Eclipse, right? Eclipse contains DDMS automatically, or we can say there are several plugins related with the DDMS already automatically included in the Eclipse environment. So if you are developing in Eclipse using ADT plugins, DDMS is integrated into your development environment. So generally Dalvik Debug Monitor Service is provides facility for the screen capture, log dump, process examination, or other activities related with the graphical user interface, that is the full form of GUI. So when you are working with the DDMS, at that time you will get the benefits of screen capturing. If you are having log dumping facility, then you can also see the log files related with the application, and you can also observe the processes related with the application. So these all are the functionalities which is performed by the DDMS. It is a GUI debugging application which is already included with the SDK. Now again, what is the full form of SDK? SDK stands for Software Development Kit. So full form you need to mug up. What is the full form of DDMS? Dalvik Debug Monitor Service. And what is the full form of GUI? GUI stands for Graphical User Interface. So these all are the full forms which you need to mug up, right? One more full form is there, that is called ADT plugins, right? ADT stands for Android Development Tools, right? ADT stands for Android Development Tools. Next is called Activity. Activity means what? It is a single full screen application, right? So when you create any application using Android, at that time you will create one screen, and that screen is referred as an activity. So a single screen in an application and it is in the full screen. So that can be referred as an activity. And once again, if you want to use more than one activity in the program or in the application development, at that time you need to register such kind of activity in the manifest file. Next is called action. The action is performed by the user. So there are several actions or several tasks we can perform in the Android application. The shaking of phone, that means when you want to put your phone in the vibrate mode, at that time you can set that permission using com.example.rumbler.shake_phone. This is the keyword which gives you the facility to vibrate the phone. Next is called android.intent.action.view. In that web URL, view means to see something, right? So over here we are going to view the URL of website. So that can be possible with the permissions like android.intent.action.view. So action can be set either by the Android or can be set by the third party developer. In our previous video we have already discussed that Android gives you the facility to add third party plugins, or you are having third party developers, right? So this action can be set by either the Android or by the third party developers, and action is in the form of string value which is assigned to the intent. Next is called intent, right? What is intent? Intent contains sender as well as it contains receiver. Intent can be passed using three ways. Number one, you are going to pass messages, that is simple text message. Number two, you can also pass images and you can also pass videos to the receiver. So these three are the various modes using which you are able to pass information to the receiver. So let me read out the points which is listed over here. Intent is nothing but it includes several criteria fields that you can supply to determine what applications or activity receives the intent and what the receiver does when handling the intent. That means whatever the message you are going to pass with the help of sender, receiver will receive that kind of information only. So how receiver will handle that particular information, that is the responsibility of intent. Next is called the application can send the intent to a single target application or can have sent it as a broadcast list. So see, sometimes what happens when you pass any message to your friend, so that friend is considered as a single target application. So as a sender you are going to pass a single message to the single receiver. Similarly, if you have created broadcast list in the WhatsApp or any other applications, so at that time what happens, there is one sender but on the parallelly there are several receivers, right? So their receivers are, they people are going to receive the message based on the sender, so which in turn can be handled by multiple applications sequentially. So one message is passed to many people at the same time. The Android system is responsible for resolving the best available receiver for each intent. That means, see, when you pass message to the number of people, at that time it will select best receiver. How it will select? Based on the data. or based on the status, right? Sometimes it may be possible that when you want to pass message to the people but the person is not online, so that receiver will not receive your message at that time. So when you send any message to the as a sender, at that time it will automatically select best receiver using intent. So based on the criteria supplied into intent and the intent filters defined by the other application. So now the word is there, intent filter, right? So what is intent filter? The intent filter is responsible to filter the object that an application declares in its manifest file. So here again you need to register intent in the manifest file to tell the system that what type of intent each of its component is willing to accept and with what criteria. That means what type of data you want to pass, whether you want to pass text message or you want to pass images or you want to pass the videos, right? So that thing you need to decide, that I will pass as a sender, I will pass message to the friend circle or I will pass message to the single receiver, right? So that thing I need to decide, and that decision is known as intent filter. We are going to filter, apply filter in the intent. So that criteria you need to decide, and accordingly you need to register it with the manifest file. Next is called theme. Theme basically is related with the setting of text size. You are going to set background color or many other options together under the under one setting. So it is generally related with the GUI of your application, or it is basically related with the display settings. So when you want to apply theme into the Android application, at that time you need to use r.style file. See over here, r.style. Inside r.style file, theme setting would be started with the theme and then underscored. So you will get the number of themes which are defaultly installed in the system or in the Android application. I am going to repeat this point once again. A theme generally you are going to use with the mobile phone or your device, right? So theme means what? You will get all the default settings which are available under one theme. You just need to download that theme and you need to set that theme in the device. So if you want to set themes in the Android application, at that time you need to refer r.style file, and in that you are having theme and then underscored. So after that you will get all the themes which is default installed in the system. Next is called view. View means to see something, right? Over here we are having rectangular area in which it will see that which type of event is performed by the user. So it is basically used for the interaction purpose. Now see, events may be in the form of mouse, it is in the form of keyboard or other options. Say for example, you click on particular place or double click or key up, key down, key press or drag or drop options. So these all can be considered as an event which is basically used for the interaction purpose, and Android have one rectangular area to view such kind of event, that this particular event is performed by the user or performed by the people. A view is a base class for most layout component of an activity or dialog screen, that is text box or windows and so on. So view is a base class and which provides you the facility for the for interaction with the events, and once event is performed, view is responsible to handle such kind of events. It receives call from its parent object to draw itself, and it informs its parent's object about where and how big it would like to be. That means when it receives a call, that means when any event occurs, at that time it will go to the parent object and it will decide that where and how big the following actions is going to be performed. So that decision can be taken by the view object. Next is called view group. View group means it is a collection of group only. Say for example, if you are using list box, right, or combo box, at that time what happens, you are getting a list of items named under the combo box or list box. So it may be possible that when there is a large number of items stored under particular group, at that time the item is invisible. So at that time you will get scroll button, right, and while you are scrolling the particular instance or object, at that time you will get the list of items which is a part of view group. So view group can be considered as a collection of object, or we can call it as a container object which contains a group of other child views. So the view group is responsible for deciding where the child views are positioned and how they large can be, as well as for calling each to draw itself when appropriate. So some view groups are invisible, as I have told you that there is a list of items, you are not able to visualize it at a time. At that time it will merge and you will get scroll down, scroll buttons, right? So it will invisible and are for layout only, while other have their own intrinsic UI, for instance a scrolling list box. So this is the example that at the time of list box you are able to view 5 to 6 items at a time. So if you are having 10 items in under one list box, at that time you will get scrolling list box. So that is called view group. Next is called widget. Widget means what? You can compare it with the .NET. In .NET control is there, and over here we are having the list of widget. You just need to drag and put it inside the designing window. So widget is a one type of controls available in the .NET. One of a set of fully implemented view subclasses that render form element or other UI component such as text box or pop-up menu. Because a widget is fully implemented, it handles measuring and drawing itself and responding to the screen events. Widgets are all in the Android.widget package. That means Android gives you a separate package for the widgets, and that package name is Android.widget. That means when you want to use widgets available in the Android, at that time you need to use Android.widget package. And the last is called window. Window is a Android application. It is an object derived from the abstract class window and specifies the elements of generic window, such as the look and feel, which contains title bar, location, content of menus and so on. See, generally you can consider this as a window. So basically each and every window contains menu elements, then status bar elements. It also contains the context menu elements, or you are having locations of particular window. So this is the left area, this is the right area, this is the top margin, and this is the bottom margin. So every window contains location on which you are able to display or create the window. When you perform any task on the window, it will automatically register. Say for example, dialog and activity use an implementation of this class to render a window. So if you have window, then you are able to get the dialog box open and your activity is registered under the window. But if you do not have, window is a kind of canvas only on which you are going to put activity or any dialogues. So you do not need to implement this class or use windows in your application, because window is a default class. That means you just need to use that particular class directly. No need to use or no need to develop that class. You just need to create object of that class, or you can directly call window class, because it is abstract class and you cannot create object of abstract class. So these 13 are the definitions which you need to mug up. It may ask in the 2 marks or 3 marks question. So this is all from my side, and this is more than enough for our today's session. Thank you all.